Underwood. Thin ice! To smoke some weed and shut up. My God.
Oh, I thought for sure there it is. Boom! Yes!
All right. There you go. Illini Basketball Podcast, episode 207, March 19th. There we go. 2024. It is Tuesday. Tuesdee is the way that many folks that are probably Illini fans would say it. Shout out to that. Armchairillini.com. You check them out. I'm struggling here. I haven't done a normal podcast episode intro. We haven't done an episode like a week.
That's true. Yeah. We haven't.
Illinois won the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah.
That happened. They got a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament, which I had been saying for weeks, for at least a week, that was going to happen. And people were like, oh, they got to win. They got to beat Nebraska. They would have gotten a 3 seed if they lost to Nebraska. I'd just like everyone to know that.
Yeah, the committee doesn't care.
Yeah, look it up. Look at Iowa State. I mean, please. Armchairillini.com. You can check them out. Articles after the game, before the game. Probably do some transfer portal stuff whenever that matters, because it matters now because Alabama just got a solid guard out of the portal, which, I don't blame Alabama. It's just the way, coaches are recruiting and game planning right now. It sucks, and it's the NCAA's fault, and that entire thing sucks. But either way, what are we doing today?
I mean, I think we'd be remiss not to kind of talk about the tournament a little bit. I know we did live reactions after every game, but for the people that just listen to us and don't actually watch our YouTube, by the way, follow us on YouTube, 2 away from 500. If you guys, so I think we need to talk about it a little bit. Of course, they won the Big Ten tournament, beat Ohio State 77-74, beat Nebraska 98-87. Thank you. I didn't know what it was called.
It's MOP.
Obviously, it's MOP. And then beat Wisconsin for the title 93-87. Terrence Shannon won the MOP of the Big Ten tournament, and he was named to the AP third team All-American team today. You text me about that. A little disrespect. Maybe he'll wear that tournament time, but
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you could say it's disrespect. I mean, slightly, yeah, but there are some outlets, quote unquote, that didn't have him on there at all. So
yeah.
Good move by the AP to include him. I think obviously everybody knows he should have been, probably. I mean, he should have been first team, but
yeah,
second team at worst. I don't know. It just stupid.
It is what it is. He had 28 against Ohio State, 40 against Nebraska, 34 against Wisconsin. He was an All-American. He chased Tominaga around in that Wisconsin or in that Nebraska game. He was on Store a little bit in the Wisconsin game. They moved him over to Chucky to stop Chucky and moved Coleman on Store, which I thought worked out pretty well. Forced Store into some tough shots. Coleman did. So, Terrence was unbelievable.
Shot 8 for 17 from 3 in the semifinals and the finals. So, because he was 2 for 7 against Ohio State, still had 28. But I think one thing that I take away from it is he hadn't gone to the free throw line double-digit attempts and gotten double-digit attempts since the Penn State game. He did it in all 3 of these games. So you're kind of getting the whole package where he's making shots. He hit a couple mid-range shots. They ran a ton of out-of-bounds plays for him, or just, plays to start. Like the Ohio State game, they ran that same play multiple times, and he postered Okpara, which he started the Big Ten tournament by postering Ohio State's 6'11" center. So he probably should have known that something great was going to happen, and he's getting to the rim. Obviously, athleticism. I know people complain, and some may call him a free throw merchant, which is insane. He made 8 field goals in the Ohio State game. He made 11 in the Nebraska game, and he made 8 in the Wisconsin game. So, He's making shots. And then
Yeah.
free throw wise, he got a lot of points from free throws, but that's what happens when you go to the rim. He had a bunch of and ones too. So he played well. I mean, he's got 8 Ken Pom MVPs since returning. He had five before going down, so 13 on the season. If he doesn't miss the 6 games, he's maybe putting together the best season in the history of the program. So he probably might be anyway. He's got a good chance to break the single season scoring record. So he's playing well.
Yeah, I think you put this in here, Shannon, 3 fewer games than last season.
Yeah, he has 33 more free throw makes. He's shooting 81% from the free throw line as opposed to 79 last season. He's made 11 more twos. He's shooting 56% from 2 as opposed to 53. And he's made 18 more threes. He's shooting 36% as opposed to 32, which he was down around 32 in the few games after coming back. And he's gotten it back up with the way he's been shooting it lately. Looks a lot more confident. And you need a guy like this to make a run. And Illinois happens to have 2 guys that are elite on the offensive end.
Yeah, one of them took him a little bit to find his game, but he was unreal. Damask was unreal in the Wisconsin game. I wrote down player grades. We don't really grade players, but I just wrote down that for some reason. I don't know, but just kind of go over everybody's stats in the tournament. We can talk about them a little if you want. If you don't, we'll just go past them. Whatever you want to do. Coleman Hawkins, 23 points, 20 rebounds, 6 blocks, 7 assists, 4 turnovers in the tournament. He was struggling a little bit in that Nebraska game. Came up with some big plays, big offensive rebounds. Had a block in that game late. Had a block in the Wisconsin game late against Storr. He's kind of been that glue guy. He's getting to the basket a lot better. The only thing that kind of scares me is 2 of 13 from 3 in the tournament.
Did you forget how big time he was in the Ohio State game down the stretch?
Probably, yes.
Because that was the game where he was useless and then got a bunch of
Ohio State.
rebounds.
Okay, I was thinking of Nebraska. Sorry.
Yeah, they beat 3 red teams. So
yeah, everything's blurred together right now.
Sorry, Scarlet. Is that what Ohio State thinks they are? Scarlet or something is the color. Yeah.
Probably.
Sorry, I apologize to Ohio State, who plays in the NIT tonight, I believe.
Yeah.
And they hired Diebler. We'll get to that. We had a couple of Big Ten things I didn't write down that I want to talk about coaching wise.
All right.
And
are we worried about Coleman's 3-point shooting right
now? Maybe a little bit. I don't know if they need it as much as if Quincy's making them, it's not going to matter. If Goody comes in and makes a couple, Shannon's shooting it well. I mean, maybe a little concerned, but he still comes in shooting 37%. You need him to find something. And I mean, he goes 2 for 12 in the last 2 games of the tournament. So he maybe hasn't found it, but he's making, some.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Was it the Ohio State game where he hit a big 3 when he was sucking? I mean, he kind of did everything at the end of that game.
His teams are still going to come out on him. I mean, the biggest shot of the game in the Big Ten championship game was Coleman passing up a shot to give it to Shannon to make it 88-85.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And it's nice because Damask has kind of been struggling bringing the ball up the court. Ty and Coleman brought it up a lot in the Wisconsin game. So to be able to have, especially when Ty's in, you got the 5 guarding Ty, so he can bring it up pretty easily. But Damask, 49 points, 16 rebounds, 20 assists for him. A steal. He did have 12 turnovers, though. Ohio State game, he struggled. Had 7 points on 19% shooting. He had 16 in the Nebraska game, and then he was back. He was definitely back in the Wisconsin game, 26 points in that game. It seems like teams are starting to run like quick guards against him, which makes him struggle to bring the ball up the court a little bit more rather than putting a 3 or a 4 on him. You saw that with Wisconsin. They ran Tyler Wall regular season on him. This game, it was more of Blackwell and I think Chucky was on him a little bit this game.
McGee do anything too?
Yeah. I think it was pretty much those guys rather than trying to put a bigger guy on him to keep him out of the paint. So we'll see how that works going forward. But again, with Coleman and Ty, I think they'll be all right getting the ball at the court. So
I think we should go out on a limb and say that Ty Rodgers was number 2 impact guy in the Big Ten tournament.
I could see that.
I mean, 15 offensive rebounds in 3 games.
Yeah. Pretty impressive.
That's gonna play. It's 6 assists too.
Yeah. Damask, I think, probably played the most minutes of anybody, though. 36, 39, 39. So,
Yeah, but the Ohio State game was like a D-.
yeah.
Ty didn't have any of those games, but Ty didn't have the A+ game. I think Damask against Wisconsin was an A+ game, but
yeah, and Ty struggled with foul trouble in that Wisconsin game, but he was all over the boards. He was making moves inside, got a few nice layups, still missing a few bunnies here and there, but 27 points for him, 28 rebounds in 3 games, 5 against Wisconsin, 15 offensive, like you said, 5 assists, 2 blocks, a steal, 3 turnovers for him over 3 games, which I think is fine. He played 32 minutes, 33 minutes, and 17 minutes. Thought it was interesting that Brad left him and Goody in instead of Harmon and Guerrier at the end of the Wisconsin game. So
yeah, I think you also have to take into account, I don't think Illinois even comes close to beating Nebraska by 11 if Ty doesn't have 7 offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
And 4 assists. So you need a guy like that to do the little things. And he's been grabbing offensive boards. He had 0 rebounds in that first Wisconsin game. And since then, he's got 21 offensive rebounds in the last 5 games. And overall, he's got 8, this is quick math, 13, 18, 19, 40 rebounds in the last 5 games. So that's 8 per game. If he's doing that, and then he's also putting up like making 4 or 5 field goals and free throw line, he's been pretty much 50% in all of these games except the Purdue game. He made both. High impact guy, though. That's the type of guy you need to win.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's getting rebounds, and then he's, penetrating on offense. He's doing those little things that the team needs. The only thing I'm kind of, I maybe step back just a bit is the reaching on the point guards. I think he forced 1 turnover doing that, but got 2 fouls in the Wisconsin game. I like the aggressiveness, but Ty's a guy that we need on the court, especially when nobody else is rebounding. So
Ty Rodgers 20th in the Big Ten this season in conference only 2-point percentage. So it's pretty decent.
Yeah. Quincy, 19 points, 6 rebounds. He had 0 rebounds in the Wisconsin game. He didn't have any turnovers. He did go 2 of 4 from 3 against Wisconsin. I thought that he was really good defensively again. I think that's where Quincy kind of shines is that length and just the body that he has. He can, make guys work for things. They put him on Crowell a little bit. They put him on Wall a little bit, and he handled those guys pretty well. Went to the hoop, got fouled on 2 dunks that he didn't make. Mr. 50% from the line. So rather just him kind of hang out and shoot some threes. But I understand people are going to come out on you. You want to get to the basket. Only played 16 minutes against Wisconsin.
Yeah, he's the team leader in 3-point percentage entering the tournament, 38.7%. So he's been shooting it well lately, and that's probably a big reason why. 2 for 4 against Wisconsin, 1 for 4 against Nebraska. Didn't take 1 against Ohio State. 2 for 3 against Iowa, 3 for 4 against Purdue. So last 5 games, he's been shooting it well, get that percentage back up. He's never shot above 35% in a season in his career. He was 34.7 at Oregon last year. So
okay,
as long as he doesn't go like 0 for 10 in like 2 or 3 tournament games, should stay above that.
Okay, that's good. Before we get to the bench guys, we'll talk to the chat a little bit. Sean, what's up? Eric, what's up? Jeffrey, time to go dancing. Steve, how you doing? Hope the boys are working on double teams because we're going to see a lot of them. We've seen a lot of them all year.
I think you welcome a double team against at least your first matchup.
Yeah,
please do.
So. Just gotta continue to spray the ball around. That's their problem. Is it gets to the second guy and kind of gets stopped. Hinkle says OMG Douster. Doster. How do you say that guy's name? Anyways,
Doster, I believe.
like if you're on Twitter, you know what he's talking about. Check it out. Says Purdue fans still butthurt from the Big Ten tournament.
Now I know what we're talking about. Forgot.
Yeah. I think it's crazy that Purdue fans wish that they were in UConn's bracket instead of UConn. Like, calm down, fellas. Jay says a little nervous about the Big Ten tournament champ jinx. Jinx are only jinx if you let them come true. Check it out. What's up? Purdue.
UConn. I have Purdue winning the national championship. My preseason pick, so.
I'm just nervous the tournament is starting. Hope they can have a nice little run. That's right. Morehead State isn't a cakewalk, people are saying. We'll talk about them a little bit. Do either of you have Illinois to win? My initial bracket, the one that I am doing for our ESPN thing, if you guys aren't a part of that, sign up. We'll drop the link at the end of this. I have Illinois winning because I was riding high. So that's probably not what I'll pick for the one I actually pay money for, but that's what I'm picking for that. We're in a tough bracket, which is fine. Yeah, you got to play who's there. So Morehead State, by the way, got beat by 30 by Purdue, and it
was in November. To be fair,
are we scared of Samford too? Come on.
I think Illinois fans, no matter what,
goodie.
Like I think people probably said in 2020, I mean, Drexel's no cakewalk. I mean, you never know when Illinois was a 1 seed. So I feel like we're going to get that no matter what, especially with like there's a balance to the 12 through 15 seeds these days. Like they're even 16. I think Stetson has a quad 1 win, and that's who UConn plays in the first round. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get to tournament talk, guys. Let us get through the Big Ten tournament.
Thanks, Luke.
Luke, we love you.
Maybe should have made one of those threes against Wisconsin. You were open.
Jay says Coleman is good from 3 when he just gets the pass and shoots without thinking or doing a pump fake. He did take some weird threes this game, but he did make one step back.
The one that he made against Nebraska was a sidestep.
Yeah.
And the one against Wisconsin, I think, was a deep one, wasn't it? I don't know. All they did was play red teams. I don't know. He made 2 threes in the Big Ten tournament. One of them was a sidestep. I think it was Nebraska. I think the one he hit against Wisconsin was deep.
Check it out. Says hopefully if Damas is having a tough game, he starts to pass to someone else instead of just booty ball. Damas had 20 assists, guys.
The efficient thing with Damask is that he had an absolutely elite game with a 140 plus O rating, according to Ken Palm, and still turned it over 5 times. Like 7 of 11 or 8 for 11 from the field, 90% from the free throw line, 4 offensive rebounds, 8 assists. If he has 5 turnovers and he puts up that stat line, I think we're okay. Because they only turned it over 9 times as a team.
What are you guys yelling at me for? Because I said that I was doing
Illinois. That's messed up.
It's for the fun one. Let me have fun, guys.
No, it's not.
Everybody thinks UConn's the best team in the country. Is this the real Luke Goody or Walmart Luke Goody? It's obviously the real one.
Definitely the real one. Seriously? Come on. It says it right there, dude.
Luke is not completely healthy. He is playing real hard out there. Yeah, he's going after everything. He's sacrificing his body. He got hurt in the Wisconsin game, came back in, kept sacrificing his body. So Adam says people will talk crap about Illini until they prove they can make a run to the Sweet 16 Elite 8. If our defense remains serviceable, we can make a run with that offense. I agree. The defense can be really good at times. I mean, they can get 3-4 stops in a row. And when Illinois does that, they can erase a 10-point deficit like they showed in this tournament in a matter of 30 seconds. So,
we haven't talked about the last 3 games.
No, what?
Closing minutes.
Closing time.
They've been closing games.
They have.
That was a big topic of discussion after the Penn State game, which they've lost 1 game since that game.
I had a lot of Illini Nation say stuff to me like, I wish they would just put teams away. Why are they letting teams get 10-point leads? Stuff like that. I think it's actually kind of good to prove that you can work yourself out of that before tournament time because they haven't lost a game by double digits, I don't believe. So
I think the big thing about the last 3 games have been just the idea that this team can make comebacks and last year's team couldn't. That wasn't the point that I was going to make. I was trying to get my brain back around to the point I was going to make. That point I just made was stupid as hell. But either way, it is true. Last year's team would fold so quickly. Shout out to Sky Clark, by the way. Giving a shout out to the boys. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. No interest in any of that. Adam Miller, however, I will allow it because at least he had a good season at Illinois and didn't leave like a bitch. Anyway, my point is, God damn it, I lost it. Hang on. Wisconsin, Illinois. Oh yeah, Wisconsin was like 9 for 11 from the field to start the second half. That's why Illinois went down double digits.
Yeah.
And also, if Wisconsin doesn't have
That's
a huge run at some point in the game, and then Nebraska just was unconscious in the first half, wouldn't miss. Illinois defensively has been pretty okay. I thought they were pretty good against Ohio State too. So,
yeah, when Wisconsin was making everything, I mean, 3 of those were inside, but they were Chucky was hitting fadeaways, and just those kind of things. Sean says just because it says Luke Goody doesn't mean it's him. Is your name not Sean? What are you talking about?
Yeah, what the hell?
Eric, how about Justin Harmon? I still think he needs to have some good moments if this team wants to make a run. All right, let's get to the bench. We'll get back to you guys later. Goody, 15 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 blocks, 1 turnover. His best game was definitely Nebraska, 4 for 9 from 3, had 6 rebounds in that game. His minutes kind of ticked up. 9 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes. So, like I said, he was in to close the game against Wisconsin. My dad said to me, well, at least Luke Goody can shoot free throws. And I said, what? He's like 60% this year, right? So
Harmon is the only money man from the free throw. And I guess Damask.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
Damask is shooting 88%. So
yeah,
he's another one.
But you got to love what Luke gives you. I thought he played good defense. That's kind of where you worry about him a little bit, just because he can be a step slow. But he's all out all the time, sacrificing his body, going after everything. So good. I thought it was a good tournament by Luke.
Yeah, good game.
Had a great game against Nebraska. Harmon, 4 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 turnovers. Ty was in some foul trouble in the Wisconsin game. Harmon came in. I thought he played pretty good defense. His only basket this game was a wide open layup. Or this tournament was a wide open layup. So the other one was free throws. The other 2 were free throws. But
he took that pull-up jumper against Ohio State that went 5 feet past the hoop.
Yeah, the head fake into the 19 footers. Not great. His minutes reversed 13, 9, and 10. So I ask you, is Brad leaning more towards Goody than Harmon these days? Do you think they're on the same level that they even play each other's minutes?
I don't know what Brad is doing, so maybe not.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
It's depend on the matchups, right? I mean, if you feel like you need a guy in there that can rebound and make threes, you put Luke in. If you need a guy that can make free throws and handle the ball a little bit and maybe make a corner 3, then it's Harmon. And if the team's not back cutting at all, you're good to go, because that's where Harmon gets lost on the defensive end.
Yeah.
I feel like Illini fans severely, it's just the guy to hate on now is Harmon. It's always a guy. Now it's Harmon. It was Goody there for a little bit, and now it's Harmon. So,
Eric has Illinois losing to UConn. Hayden says, remember when you all called Dane a future mid-major transfer?
Here's the thing. Number one,
or are you just talking about Illinois fans in general?
If we did say that, who cares? Who's to say he's not? I mean, is there people out there that actually think that Dane Dange's best version of himself could be it's Dane Danger at a mid-major would be dominant. I don't know. He would reach a different level than he would here. I don't know why anybody thinks that Dane's not an elite center at this level, which is fine. Maybe he develops into that eventually. I mean, I don't know. He doesn't have a ton of time left. He's probably got like 2 years though, right? Maybe even 3, given the eligibility. It doesn't make any sense. He didn't even play his first season at Baylor. But either way, who's to say we're wrong? It's like everything has to be called out because he had 2 good games. Like, let's relax. And nobody praised Dane more than we did last weekend.
It's true. Steve says the longer Shan is back, the defense gets a little bit better every game. I think their defense could get really hot in the big tournament. I think Illinois' defense can be a top 30 defense in the tournament.
It's a low bar. There's going to be 32 teams left by Friday, Friday night.
I'm just throwing it out there.
They got to turn people over more if they want to actually get the numbers up.
If Illinois follows the same pattern as the season, they lose to Iowa State. Technically, if they keep following that pattern, they're going to lose to Morehead State because they're number 10 in the AP again. We all know what happens when that happens. Eesh. This team doesn't need great D to make a run, says Jay. Just a few key stops. I'd take my chances on an offensive team than a defensive team any day of the week. What's up, Bootzilla? I can't read. You guys are killing me. All right. Dane Danger, 27 points, 15 rebounds, 1 block, 1 turnover. He was great in the Ohio State game. He had 18 points with 8 rebounds in 20 minutes. He played a whole 6 minutes in the Nebraska game. And then he had 9 points with 7 rebounds in 23 minutes in the Wisconsin game. Dane's great against matchups that work well, right? I mean, that's what Dane is. And I think Dane understands that. He was not upset. He didn't seem distraught in the Nebraska game where he didn't get much time because he knew he wasn't a good matchup for it. They ran Coleman and Dane at Wisconsin, which I thought was really good. Dane can be good. Matchups dictate that.
I don't know if I fully agree with that, but I understand what you're saying.
You think Dane sucks? Is that what you want to say?
No, I'm just
You've been a matchups guy all year, and
I am, but just because it's a good matchup doesn't mean Dane's going to do 18 and 8. But I think that's going to dictate how much he plays. Even though I think Nebraska wasn't, it's an okay matchup for him too, and he didn't really do much. I don't think Morehead State's a great matchup for him, just because if you look at
this should say Hayden, this should say every Illinois player, not Harmon, takes every fake from a ball handler. Have you watched the team this year?
So
they literally get beat by a jab step, every single one of them.
Ty is the king of that, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, Morehead has a 7-footer, but he doesn't play very much, so something to keep an eye on there. I don't know how much we'll see Dane in this game. It's probably going to depend on if Illinois is rolling with Coleman at the 5. You're not going to see Dane for more than 10 minutes. It's that simple.
Yeah, it seems like Morehead. I don't want to say they run a smaller lineup because they're 6'5" and above, besides one guy, but yeah, that 7-footer doesn't seem like he plays much. So maybe Brad's turning into a matchup genius.
I think Brad's always been a lot better at a lot of areas of coaching than anybody would give him credit for.
Jeffrey's not taking the bait.
Oh, the bait that you think Dane Danger is Shaquille O'Neal? I mean, who cares?
Wade says, I feel like
biased.
I feel like Dane can help us defensively if we are getting beat up inside. I do agree that Dane is a good body to have if Coleman's getting worked down.
It's not gonna happen against Morehead.
No. One last guy that came off the bench. Well, Moretti, I think, played a little bit, but we're not going to count him because he came in twice, got burnt twice. Sit on the bench, son. DGL, 2 points, 2 rebounds, played 15 minutes over 3 games, played 7 against Wisconsin. Harmon and Ty were in a little bit of foul trouble in the first half. Came in to play defense on Chucky. Came in the second half, played a little defense. I don't think he was in long in the second half, but it's clear that Brad Underwood trusts him to guard a guard if he needs to go that deep into the bench. And he had a really nice up and under hoopty-loopty-doopty-doo. So whatever you want to call that thing.
I don't think Nico got a fair shake in this tournament. Comes in, plays against Bruce Thornton, gets burnt, and then doesn't really play again.
That's true.
Hansberry has played 3 minutes to foul Zach Edey in the last 6 games.
I don't think we're going to see Hansberry anymore. I think they're making
That's fine.
sure.
You got a bit, you got a little run. Yeah. I mean,
He's
he
been
played
dealing with those back spasms.
He played 15 minutes, 22 minutes, and 17 minutes in November. So he got some run. He got 13 minutes against Iowa. So, it's fine. It's not like the Xavier Booker situation where he comes in as a 5-star.
Yeah, you missed Ethan's sarcasm in that, Eric.
Hey, you can't guard, especially if it's Bruce Thornton. However, that game against who is that against? Iowa, where he had that nice play on that back cut and then picked it off.
Yeah,
defensively. So there's a little something there.
He did have that. Yeah. Bootzilla says, I like how Brad didn't leave guys in who weren't producing. He tightened up the rotations.
Well, postseason play. It's what you gotta do.
We're not screwing around anymore. Berge attended Iowa State. Ouch. Check it out says, is that a normal strategy to send a guy in to collect fouls, i.e. Hansberry? It was against Purdue. Brad made it very clear that that's what he was in there for, because they wanted to get into the bonus because Edey can't shoot free throws, which Edey probably has a better free throw percentage than 3 guys on our team.
Sure.
I don't know what his percentages are. Anyways, Big Ten title. Go order your shirts.
Yikes.
What do you mean, yikes?
Edey 71%. That's pretty good for a
that guy that, who cares about the Big Ten tournament? Don't be that guy.
I feel like both of us went into the Big Ten tournament saying we didn't care that much about it. Am I wrong?
You don't care about it until you're
so now they won and now you care. Okay, that's fine. Just wondering. Order your shirts.
I wouldn't have cared if they lost. There's a difference.
Well, that's just, whatever.
That's 2 different things. Just saying.
He's better than Danger by 20%. He's better than DGL by 14%. He's better than Quincy by 14%. He's better than Ty by 9%. He's better than Goody by 11%. And then he's better than Moretti by 5%. So 71%. It's just because he goes like 2 for 9 and then 11 for 11. Like that's
right. Yeah.
What he's done all season.
Can't take his eye off that basket. Messes him up. So, all right. On to tournament time. In Morehead State. I'm kind of sad it's not Western Illinois. Not going to lie. They probably should have won that. But
you think Western Illinois would be a 14 seed?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I mean, the way they
just coins is 11, so
it's Duquesne, and they were preseason like top 2 favorite in the A10, maybe 3rd.
Great.
Western Illinois.
I saw something today. Bracket Matrix, by the way. I think Jerry Palm finished like 10th to last out of 300. Yeah. Lenardi finished like 170. Our boy Bracket Dom was like in the 60s, but they said that the guy that was number 1 this year would have been 156 last year. And they said that's all you need to know about what the committee did this year.
Yeah. By the way, just in KenPom alone, Morehead State is 159 spots ahead of Western. So I feel like Western's probably a 15 or a 16. Probably a 16. Yeah.
Western sucks. I was just joking.
Illinois did play Western. That was a good game.
They did.
And they went 13-5 in the conference. They're probably a 15 seed.
I mean, they were leading the conference with like 6 games left.
Yeah, they were 10-4.
Wade says, I think Brad and staff are doing a better job making in-game adjustments this year. We are going to need to do that for us to make a run. I don't think there's
that much difference. I just think the team is better. I mean, guys, come on.
They step up.
And how many times has everybody complained about the rotations down the stretch, me included? I think the team is better.
So I always complain because Hoiberg was running, set play, eating Illinois up. Brad just won't do it. He just refuses to run a set play. He ran Michigan coming out at halftime against Wisconsin. If you guys know what Michigan is, you know what it is. If you don't, you probably call it something else. Anyways, they try to throw it up to Quincy. What is it like, guys? If the play's not there, you don't have to run it. because they ended up just tossing it away.
They ran that Shannon blob like 4,000 times, and it worked twice. So
yeah, it worked once, and then Brad just continuously ran it.
It worked against one of the other two opponents.
The other one wasn't that exact play, but I know what you're talking
I
about.
have to go back and watch the tape.
Tossed up to him, so
gotta go back and watch the tape.
It helps to have better players to adjust with. Eric says the team can score better this year, which makes things so much easier. What's going on, Happy Hermit?
I don't think
We're
Brad
so close to 500, guys. Hit that sub button.
I don't think Brad has changed very much at all. I just think the team is better, and it makes things easier for him to manage, which is why I wonder why people all of a sudden are like, oh, Brad's doing a better job of this. He's doing a better job of that. I think he's been doing the same thing like the entire year. I think he's made some mistakes too, which is how it goes.
Jay Brock says, I know that this violates some sort of conference brotherhood code, but Iowa State fans would appreciate if Illini would take care of BYU. Those dudes are a bad matchup for us. Well,
we'll see. I mean, BYU is, they got to get through Duquesne first, but
that's right.
They can score for sure. I think their metrics are a little inflated from.
Watch out for the Dukes.
Some of the stuff that went down, but
I've been kind of reading.
Teams have inflated metrics.
BYU's not as scary as I thought they might be, but who knows? Jeffrey says, is there any way to find out how KenPom game pick misses this year? I'm curious to see how many times the metrics are off percentage wise. If you can understand that, you let him know.
I think he's just trying to.
I think he's asking, does KenPom predictive metrics have a win-loss record?
Sure, it's somewhere. I don't know where it would be.
Okay. Paul, what's up? Hey, guys. I started watching Stephen Bardo's tournament show, but turned it off within the first 15 minutes. Why? Major mistakes with teams and the regions they are in or who they would play in the second round. Bardo's just complaining about matchups? Is that what you're saying? Bye is very good and scary. Compare the path for Illinois to other 3 seeds. Guys, calm down. Jay says if BYU is a bad matchup, wait until they face Illinois.
He's talking to Iowa State.
I got you. There's a guy in the portal from Cal Poly. Kobe Sanders plays like Damask, would be a good replacement next year. We'll look.
I'm in.
In reality, BYU should have been a 5 seed. Being a Mormon school, they do not play on Sundays yet.
Yeah, that's BS.
Yeah, it's crazy. So,
has Illinois been listed for this guy at all? This Kobe Sanders fella?
Jeffrey said, I wanted to know because the seeding is affected by the metrics, but KenPom isn't something that the committee looks at, right?
They look at predictive metrics for sure.
But not KenPom.
That's literally the number one, though, so maybe.
Okay.
Like all the team sheets have KenPom, strength of record, strength of schedule, and then they have results-based metrics, which would be the KPI. So,
Jay Brock, we're not looking past BYU. We're only worried about the team in front of us right now.
This Kobe Sanders had 30 points and 8 assists in their last. I mean, Cal Poly was horrific this year, but it seems like he's a bright spot. Plus, he's old, 4 years there, so maybe come up a level. I'm in. Number one target. Put him on the board. Where's Jeff Alexander? Get him in.
Is he from Italy or something?
Am I wrong for thinking that this is like stupid?
No, you're absolutely right.
I mean, BYU, if you're going to be a power conference basketball school, get your fucking shit together. Teams should not have to. Oh, did I say a bad word, BYU? Oh my God, did I just say the F word? Get your fucking shit together. We don't need teams scheduling. Oh, we can't play on Sunday, whatever. And people are going to call me something anti-religious, whatever. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm just saying, if you're going to play in the Big 12 and you have to play on Sunday, keep them out of the tournament if they can't play on Sunday. Keep them out of the tournament. Anyway.
I agree. Somebody put a thing like they can only be like a 1, 4, 7 Not
I mean,
like
what
they can only be certain seeds because of it.
well,
It's
the
crazy.
NCAA is afraid of the backlash from the religious. I almost said the C word and I didn't mean to. I apologize.
Bardo claimed if Northwestern beats FAU, they would play North Carolina. Okay. And then claimed Michigan State would face Iowa State in the second round. Bardo started icing his drinks early, huh? He meant to ice his knees and he iced his drinks. Chance DeMask comes back for another with medical red shirts.
I thought you were talking about COVID for a second.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt if they tried to.
There are people wearing masks out there still, so that's a good point.
Either play Sunday or else GTFHOA.
Yeah, I mean, if there, it was cute when you guys were in the West Coast conference.
Okay, all right.
It's annoying.
Illinois plays Morehead State Thursday. This is your thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know what I'm doing here. Illinois is 3 seed, Morehead State's 14 seed.
I gotta be somewhere.
Both teams are 26-8. Thursday, 2:10 True TV. Morehead State's a low tempo, high 3-point attempt rate team. They went 14-4 in the OVC. They won the conference title game over Little Rock. Their first NCAA tournament appearance since 2021. They lost to West Virginia in the first round. Projected lineup: Drew Thelwell, 6'3", 195 junior, 21 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists in the OVC title game. Shoots at 34% from 3. Guard Khalil Thomas, 6'5", 200 senior, 43% from 3. Shot at 7 for 10 in the OVC semis. Jordan Lathan, 6'5", 195 senior, Milwaukee transfer, had 30 points in their game earlier this season at Indiana. Then the best player on the team here, Riley Minix, the 4, 6'7", 230, has the ball a lot. Senior, one of the best players in their conference, 26-7 in the OVC title game. And then Deontay Miles, 7 foot, 240 senior, Xavier transfer, has 7 points in the last 4 games. So he's not playing a ton of minutes. But either way, they don't roll a lot of bench players. They are 348th in the country in bench minutes percentage. Illinois is 240th. And the average in D1 is 30.9. Morehead State 21.1. Illinois 28.2 bench minutes percentage.
Yeah, I think in the championship game they had one guy with 26 off the bench and one guy with 7. Yeah. And that's it. So.
Yeah. Offensive efficiency: Illinois is 3rd in the country at 125.6. Morehead State is 124th at 109. Defensive efficiency: Illinois is 93rd in the country at 101.6. Morehead State is 120 at 103.5. Morehead State shoots at 35% from 3, which is 103rd. 55.5% from 2, which is 21st, and 71.5% from the free throw line, which is 209th. Illinois 35% from 3, which is 121st. 54.6 from 2, which is 34th, and then 74.5 from the free throw line, which is 80th. Illinois is above D1 average in all 3 of those categories, and Morehead State is as well, except they are just below the free throw percentage D1 average of 71.9. Assists per field goals made: Illinois is 44.4%, which is 314th. Morehead State 53.1, which is 111th. They get 36.4% of their points from 3-pointers, which is 37th in the country. Illinois, a little bit more balanced in that regard. Let's see. Average height: Morehead State 44th at 78.1. Illinois 8th at 78.8. Illinois 10th in D1 experience. Morehead State is 163rd. So, yeah, there you go. Players to watch.
I don't know if I did that right. Can you help Paul out? It looked like it broke up or
chat
something
right now. You can still copy both things together.
Yeah. Figure it out, Paul.
Whoa.
Players to watch. I'm going with Marcus Damask. I got to see. He's got to come out good. We don't need who they play first. Ohio State. Marcus Damask. We need Wisconsin game. Marcus Damask. We talked about Morehead not going very deep off their bench. Their big guy played 20 minutes in the championship game. They had 2 guys come off the bench. They run 6'5" to like 6'9". They have 6'3" guard and Thelwell, but Jordan Lathan is going to be my guy to watch from Morehead State. And he's had 20+ points in 11 games. He's had 2 games of 30+. He's shooting it at 38% from 3, with averaging 6 rebounds per game. So you got to keep him off the 3, like you said. You can't let guys get going. I think that Illinois will have an opportunity to wear them down. Like I said, Purdue beat them by 30. Alabama put 105 up on them the first game of the season. I think Illinois is going to run away with this, but you got to show up first game.
Yeah, I'm going Coleman Hawkins on the Illini side. I think he'll probably get the Minix assignment. If it's not Quincy, it'll be Coleman. An important spot here. He had, he had a 30-point game against Western Illinois. He had a 34-point game. No, I read that wrong. No, he did. 34 against Southeast Missouri State, whatever that is to mean. He had 18 points against Purdue. Shot a 2 for 8 from 3 though in that game. But a good player overall. It'll be a tough guard for anybody. He's my player to watch as well on the Morehead State side. So be interested to see that matchup.
Who do you think Ty's or Shannon's going to guard? I mean, usually you put him on their best player. I don't think they're going to put him on Minix, like you said.
Probably Lathan or Thomas, one of the two.
Yeah. Any of these guys can get going from 3, so you got to run them off 3-point line. You got to make this an Illini game. You can't make this, what Wisconsin tried to do, what everybody's tried to do. Illinois' got to turn the ball over, get out and run, get rebounds, not allow offensive rebounds. Problem with threes is Illinois sometimes has a problem chasing down those 3 balls when they come banging off the rim. So got to get out and go. Predictions. I got Illinois winning 89-68. Put them away, make them cry, send them back to wherever Morehead State's at. Where's Morehead State at?
I don't know. I got Illinois winning 86-72. Maybe a little closer than we'd like, but you never know. I don't know if I trust Illinois' defense to lock in no matter who the opponent is.
14 still covers.
It's in Morehead, Kentucky.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Paul says Illinois 88-74. Bergie thinks Illinois will hit 90. Purdue beat Northwestern by a bunch, and Northwestern beat Illinois. Not the same thing. Quiet.
I don't understand what that has to do with anything, but yeah. Illinois also beat Northwestern by 30. So without Shannon, but still,
Jeff, if we don't come off screens, we're going to get killed from 3. I think Illinois proved they could fight through some screens. Their help defense seemed a lot better, at least getting a hand in somebody's face so they didn't catch and shoot. I thought that looked a lot better in the tournament, personally. Sean says Illinois 86, Morehead State 49. Thanks, Cold Boy. Appreciate you. Paul, I like the Illinois played the lineup of Dane, Terrence Shannon, Damas, Coleman, and Quincy. We should see more of that in this tourney. The big boy lineup. Transitive theory doesn't work. I don't know what you're transitiving. Illinois wins 87-84.
87-84. Jesus.
I mean,
you guys are scared.
All right.
Here's the problem with that theory that you say doesn't work. Morehead State is not a comparable to Northwestern.
Eric says Illinois 85, Morehead State 70.
I'd be okay with that. Just win. I mean, they lost in the first round last year, so just win.
Just win.
Just win. Yeah.
Easy, Josh. Hit that sub button, though. Thanks. Appreciate you.
86-49. That's funny. That would be a fun game. We'd be riding high just before a second round exit to BYU or Duquesne. One of the two. You got any NCAA tournament thoughts you want to throw at the people? Maybe a bet tonight or something?
A bet in the NIT?
Playing games.
Oh.
Jesus. You guys are all
They're not called playing games. I don't know what you're talking about.
First 4 games, sorry. It's actually ridiculous.
Let's see. Give me Colorado State. -2.5.
God, I hope so.
-2.5.
I hope so. I mean, Virginia winning would be a national tragedy.
I don't even know who's in the NIT.
Ohio State.
The rest of the Big Ten, Iowa, I think, plays tonight. So, as an IU fan, I think Illini have a decent chance to make a run here. I hope so, Josh. Illinois needs one. Jay says, besides Illinois game, what game are you most interested in watching?
Great question. Can you pull up the Thursday schedule? I guess I got to do one for each day. I could do it too, I guess. I guess. Let's see. Thursday. I feel like the first game of the day might be the most intriguing. Michigan State, Mississippi State. We also have McNeese, Gonzaga, and Samford, Kansas back-to-back window. Very interesting games there.
What are you looking on?
I just have it on KenPom schedule, which gives you a thrill score. The top thrill score is Michigan State, Mississippi State. And the second is Nevada, Dayton, and third is Drake, Washington State.
I'm really looking forward to that Drake Washington State game you keep talking about.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people. I saw Norlander on CBS Sports Network had Washington State in like the Sweet 16 or Elite 8 or something. So that was a bit of a concern. I like Washington State, but I'm into Drake.
You are into – whoa. All right.
The school. I mean, we're talking ball here. Jesus. Get your head out of your ass. Day 2, easily the most interesting game to me. The 2 most are New Mexico, Clemson, Texas A&M, Nebraska, and make it 3, Grand Canyon, St. Mary's. And Northwestern FAU will be a blowout. FAU is going to kill them. Hate to say it, but
what are your thoughts on James Madison, Wisconsin?
Yeah, I think James Madison's really good. One concern maybe is that they haven't lost since January 27th. That's always a bit scary. But I mean, they have the numbers to keep up. I mean, you look at, Edwards and Friedel and Wooden, those are all guys that are shooting 35+% from 3 with length too. Like Julian Wooden shoots at 41% from 3, 6'8", 225. Terrence Edwards is a stud. I think they have the guys to guard Storr. They got wing length and athleticism.
Yeah.
And I think if Wall is a non-factor and Crowell doesn't score 15, Wisconsin could be in real trouble.
Okay. How about last one? I know we've already talked about this, but for the fans out there, because these are the guaranteed locks, 5-12s, McNeese, Gonzaga.
I've been a McNeese guy all season. I love their team. However, I also like this Gonzaga team a lot. I like that they lost to St. Mary's in the West Coast Conference title because they just win that tournament every year. And also, can we sit here? We can't sit here and pretend like Gonzaga is not the most consistent team in the tournament the last decade. What do they have, 8 Sweet 16s in a row? I'll bet on that. And they got a point guard too. And Nembhard had a great run at Creighton last year in the tournament as well, so he's not afraid of that. And Graham Ike is going to be too much to handle for a lot of teams, I think, on the interior, especially since he's healthy now. That was a guy going into the season where you're like, Gonzaga's got him. They got Nembhard, that inside-out game. They got Watson back. They got Hickman there. Put him in the two role next to Nembhard. That'll be good. But I think Northwestern. I think I was reading the damn screen. I think Gonzaga is going to beat McNeese. I do think Samford's going to beat Kansas just because I don't trust Kansas at all. I know McCullough and Dickinson are going to play. How healthy are they? And we can't pretend like when they were on the floor, Kansas was that elite. When was Kansas' most elite moment of the season? Beating UConn, I guess, by 4 when UConn didn't have Stephon Castle. I mean, I don't know. And they did beat Kentucky by Kansas was elite until the conference play started. They were 13-1 in the non-conference with wins over UConn, Tennessee, and Kentucky. And their one loss was Marquette. They were not good in Big 12 play at all. For a Bill Self team to go 10-8 is outrageous, especially with 2 All-American caliber players and a point guard who's been there forever. Samford, buckyball. They shoot it really well from 3. They press the absolute shit out of teams. I think Samford's going to beat Kansas.
Okay. Butzilla says bold prediction: one of the 1 seeds will lose this weekend. And then he says maybe not be that bold though.
It's still bold, yeah.
Is there what would be your number 1 seed that doesn't make it out of the first weekend?
Houston.
Really?
Yeah, I think Houston really wants to play Texas A&M. I think Nebraska's a bad matchup for Houston.
Okay.
Because Nebraska has a bunch of guys who can
They
make
can go lights out. Yeah.
And they have big bodies underneath. And especially with the injury to Juwan Roberts at Houston, who, if he plays, is not going to be fully healthy. He was limping around out there in the Big 12 tournament. I like their guards. Obviously, Houston's got really good guards. But if Bryce Williams is playing confident and Juwan Gary stays out of foul trouble and Tominaga makes threes and Mass can stay out of foul trouble and make shots and they let them play physical, I think Nebraska can beat Houston. And then 2 seed wise, I think Marquette and Tennessee should be advised. Marquette, whether Kolek is healthy or not, I think they're probably hoping they don't have to play Colorado in the second round because I actually have Colorado beating Marquette in the second round. And then Tennessee, it's just you don't trust Rick Barnes and March. I wouldn't be that surprised if they lost to Texas in the second round if A. Smith and Hunter figure it out. 3 seed, I think Illinois is got to watch their backs a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I love the draw for Kentucky. I think Baylor's got a great draw because they pretty much play a lifeless garbage team in the first round of Colgate. So congrats to them on that draw. And wouldn't be surprised if Duke got to the Elite Eight either. I feel like we're maybe under the radar on this Duke team. We all hate them, but still.
Yeah.
They got out physical by Tennessee last year. Who's going to out physical Duke if it's not Houston in the Sweet 16? I think they're better than Wisconsin. I don't think Vermont's a concern. Vermont is not as good as they usually are. Despite the fact they're a 13 seed and they've been a worse seed than that in the past, I don't think this Vermont team is that good. So,
all right. One more, just because everybody knows you're a loyalist. How far can your Oregon Ducks go?
Great question. I mean, I don't think they have a chance against Creighton in the second round if they beat South Carolina.
Okay.
Creighton's got a big with Kalkbrenner, who I think will probably struggle if they end up playing Purdue. I think that's probably what Creighton wants to avoid to get to the Final Four. Don't want to play Purdue. I think they could beat Tennessee. And I don't even know if Oregon, everybody's just automatically taking Oregon over South Carolina, which I think this is more of an 8-9 than a 6-11 game, just because I don't think South Carolina is as good as their 26-7 record. I think South Carolina, resume record-wise, reminds me of Texas A&M last year, who was a 7 seed, lost to Penn State in the first round. Yeah. So that's probably why everybody has South Carolina losing. I think he will, or I think they will. I keep reading the comments. Some of these comments are ridiculous, but whatever.
Thoughts on Michigan State beating UNC? Michigan State's got to win their first game first.
I think Mississippi State loves that matchup against Michigan State, and here's why. Because Mississippi State, while they're not as good defensively as they were last year, they have a big underneath that can absolutely score it, and that's Tolu Smith. And another thing that Mississippi State does is they're 6th in the country at 3-point percentage against. So they guard the 3, and that's where Michigan State's got to get their points. If it's not Hogard from the mid-range, if it's not Walker getting to the rim, I think Michigan State's going to have a hell of a time against Mississippi State, who, lost 4 straight going into the SEC tournament, but then beat LSU by 10, beat Tennessee by 17. The one thing that Mississippi State has done this year is they've proven they can hang and beat high-level opponents. They've beaten Tennessee twice. They beat Auburn. They hung around, lost to Kentucky by 2. They got killed by Alabama, but that's just, that's a track meet type game that I don't think Mississippi State wants to get into. But big key for Mississippi State is you got to knock down some threes. And I know a lot of people are looking at Josh Hubbard as a 5'10" freshman guard who everyone's going to love this tournament. I would agree. I mean, he shoots it well from 3 and he's a good free throw shooter. So That'll be a big spot as well. And, Tolu Smith was hurt at the beginning of the year. He's only played 22 games, so he's fresh. I think he's going to present serious issues for Mississippi State. And I wouldn't be that surprised if Mississippi State keeps it within 5 against North Carolina if they beat Michigan State. You guys are awful with Dane. He's a stud if he had the minutes. Yeah, great.
I mean, there's a reason why he doesn't play more than 20 minutes because he can't. When have we ever said Dane's awful, get him off the court?
I may have said
We've probably said that, but honestly, though.
I mean, DJ Burns doesn't play more than 30 minutes for NC
How many
State.
times
He's
have
way
I
better
said
than
that Dane is good if they play him as a true big? They can't give him the ball 19 feet from the basket. None of us we're not going after Dane and saying sit him on the bench and never let him play. DJ
Burns 1, 2, 3 times this season, 4 times this season, NC State has played more than 30 minutes, and he's way better than Dane. So DJ Burns, of course, is, listed 6'9", 275, but I feel like he might be a little fatter than that, to be fair.
Wesley, fellow Oregon fan, says, SC guards scare me against Oregon's guards. Shellstat is a freshman and has shown a couple times this year he can get sped up and turn the ball over. Dante is playing well too.
I mean, I South Carolina, I don't think they're going to have an answer for N'Faly Dante, who was an absolute monster in the Pac-12 tournament. And Oregon is also a very talented team that has taken a while to come around. And also has Dana Altman ever lost in the first round at Oregon? I'm not sure.
And somebody shared his stats. He's like round of 32 or Sweet 16.
He's never lost in the first round at Oregon. No matter what. They had a 12 seed, got to the Sweet 16. They had an 8 seed, 7 seed, 12 seed, got to the Sweet 16. So give him a double-digit seed. The 2 times it's happened, they got to the Sweet 16. I know that this team isn't quite as good as those teams. Those teams, particularly at least the one from 2021, or the one from 2019, I should say, shot the ball a little bit better than this team does, but Oregon's got, I know Shellstad's a freshman, but coming around, he's got 38 points in the semis, 21 in the semis, 17 in the final. Like I said, Dante, when healthy, he shoots at 70% from 2. Like, he's automatic. And he shot it 12 for 12 against Colorado. So I think Oregon on paper is a good matchup, but I would be a little concerned about how many people are just automatically picking Oregon. I feel like there's a team every year where they automatically get picked against in the first round and then they win. Yeah. I don't know who it would have been last year. Would have had to look at the bracket, run the numbers on that one, quite possibly. I know the upset last year that everybody picked that was wrong. Kent State. Everybody thought Kent State was going to beat Indiana, and it wasn't even close. And also, let me throw this out there. I really like Grand Canyon to win in the first round. I have Grand Canyon in the Sweet 16. No, I don't.
I don't know what I filled out.
My bracket that I did, okay, my first 2 brackets, that one of them was on the show yesterday, one of them was just gut feeling, had them in the Sweet 16, but I do have them losing to Alabama in the second round. Sorry. But I love Grand Canyon. St. Mary's, every time people think St. Mary's is going to lose in the first round, or 2 years ago, St. Mary's was a 5 seed. They played Indiana, who's a 12. And everybody's like, St. Mary's might lose to Indiana. That's a tough matchup. And they killed them. Last year, they played VCU in the first round. Everyone's like, VCU might hang around with them. They lost. So St. Mary's always gets picked against in the first round. And I feel like we're falling into that trap again. However, St. Mary's has good players. I don't think they have anybody as good as Tyon Grant Foster. So
where were you guys yesterday when Ethan talked about all this stuff? That's what I want to know.
I feel like I probably spent 2 seconds on that game, though.
Maybe we should start doing the March Madness countdown on the Illini channel.
Yeah, it's probably a good point. Yeah.
Jeffrey says, "How about the TCU game?"
Yeah, TCU's old as hell. 3rd in the country in D1 experience. They got a bunch of seniors. They got Jameer Nelson Jr. there. They got Emmanuel Miller, who's a senior. They got PV, who's a senior. They got Avery Anderson from Oklahoma State, who's a senior. They're really old. Utah State, as the regular season winner of the Mountain West, probably should not be in an 8-9 game. I think that's a little egregious, which is why I think the Mountain West got screwed in terms of seeding in a lot of areas. But one thing that I think of with this matchup is if Utah State is able to score underneath, they're gonna beat TCU by 10 because that's where they get it done. They're 57% from inside the 3-point line, and you know what TCU gives up from inside the 3-point line defensively? 51%. So they don't stop it. Utah State can't shoot threes, but they're going to have two of the better players in the court with Darius Brown and Great Osabor. I don't know if it's Great or Griat. I don't know how to pronounce his first name, but it's spelled Great. So
check it out. Goes 87-80 Illinois now. TCU to the Elite Eight for me, says Paul. Jamie Dixon can coach.
I don't think TCU would have a chance in hell against Purdue. Like, not even a chance. Like, they don't stop teams from 2. That's the problem. They give up 51% from 2. What do you think Edey's going to do to him? He's going to have 50.
Yeah.
And TKR can score underneath, too. And you get, Smith or Lawyer to the basket. I think it's a horrible matchup for TCU. I know that people like them. I haven't even considered picking them to win in the first round. They probably could. Definitely could. But I think Purdue is going to get to the Elite Eight at a minimum.
Jeffrey asks, is Texas ranked too high?
Texas is kind of sneaky bad this year. I don't like this team at all. I like their backcourt, and they got a lot of guys back from last year, like Dylan Mitchell and Disu are both there. I think they're like a good roster, but I haven't really liked them at all this season. I mean, this is the same team that beat Louisville by 1 on a neutral court. I mean, that's pretty pathetic. They can score it.
Hayden, we've been there with the DeMonte gang, even though we love DeMonte. They want to hate on us. We haven't done anything against Dane. Calm down.
Yeah.
One game, anything happened.
All 6 people that think Dane is Shaquille O'Neal. Go ahead. And the king of the crew is probably Jeffrey, who's still here.
That's true. Jeffrey loves us, even though Ethan berates him about Dane Danger.
One thing I worry about with Texas is they give up 35% from 3. So if they end up playing Colorado State, I mean, that's fine against Virginia. Like, if Virginia beats Colorado State tonight, they have 0 chance against Texas. So you can throw that out the window. But Colorado State does not shoot it that well from 3 either. So who knows? I think Texas will win in the first round at least. Also, Ohio State sticking with Diebler. Interesting move. I think it is kind of weird they paid that buyout for Holtman just to hire one of his assistants. I think that's a little weird. You can get that off the screen. I think we're good.
I'm just trying to get to the ad read.
Well, let me finish a couple of my points.
I got a conference tournament I got to get to for my son.
Basketball?
Scholastic Bowl.
Okay. I was curious. So yeah, I just think it's weird they paid that expensive buyout for Holtman just to hire one of his assistants. And I think recruiting wise, it'll be interesting. I think Ohio State recruits itself in some ways. But let's not forget, I think it was Mark Titus, who's obviously biased because he's an Ohio State guy, who brought up that when Diebler was at Vanderbilt, he got Aaron Nesmith and Darius Garland to Vanderbilt. So that's a couple good gets right there. Darius Garland's an NBA All-Star. So, and then Michigan, Terrace Reed, Doug McDaniel, and I think somebody else I might be missing in the portal. Not a surprise. I think Michigan's probably going to hire Dusty May. That's just my guess right now. I thought he was going to go to Ohio State. But Michigan, they're not getting Nate Oates because Nate Oates signed an extension, and his buyout, I think, is 3 times the buyout of DeBoer, the football coach at Alabama, which is crazy to think about. The Alabama basketball coach is a 3-time bigger buyout than the football coach. So he's not going anywhere. His buyout's like $18 million until like 2027. So yeah, I think Dusty May will be the favorite. And who knows if that's a good hire or not. Remains to be seen. All right.
As always, we want to thank Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon at 700 East Broadway Avenue in Mattoon, Illinois. You can find them online at www.alamo-steakhouse.com. Tonight, Tuesday, they got a chopped steak special. Tomorrow, they got a grilled ham steak special. Thursday, they got pulled chicken tacos. So go by, get some food from them. We appreciate them like always. If you'd like to sponsor our episodes or the watch parties, please reach out to us on Twitter or email us at illinibasketballpodcast@gmail.com. Dane Gang, please don't cancel us. Subscribe, share, comment, leave a review. 1 star, 5 stars. We don't care. Thanks.
All right. We'll be back after the game Thursday, I guess, would be my initial thought.
Yeah.
So everybody then follow the Twitter at Podcast Illini. Goodbye.